Now here's a number that should make you think. On a single night in January last year, 37,800 veterans did not have a place to call home. 37,000. Think about that. The Veterans Community Project is certainly thinking about it in Kansas City. This nonprofit has transformed the lives of some homeless veterans now who have homes, tiny homes that are complete with new furniture, appliances, and food. These homes, all free of charge. This program now expanding to other cities nationwide. And I want to tell you about it. Joining me now, former Army intelligence officer and former Secretary of State of Missouri, Jason Kander, who will be leading this expansion. Jason, please tell us about this program. It is so important.
Well, first of all, thanks, Stephanie, for having me on. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about Veterans Community Project. Let me begin by telling you how I came to know of Veterans Community Project. I actually was running for mayor and here in Kansas City and got a VIP tour of the place. I'm, as you mentioned, a veteran myself, was completely inspired by the combat veterans who started it. And then, as some may remember, about 6 weeks after that, I announced that I was going to pull back from politics for a while and get treatment after almost 12 years after my combat deployment for post-traumatic stress. When I did that, I went down to the VA, and one of the first things that happened was I recognized that the process was not as easy to navigate as I had hoped. And so, not knowing what else to do, despite the fact that I had a phone full of influential contacts, some pretty high-level government experience and a law degree, even I said, you know, I'm going to need some help with this. So I turned to the folks that I knew at Veterans Community Project, and I did what over 4,000 veterans in Kansas City have done, which is just go in for the walk-in services that they provide for anybody, whether homeless or otherwise. And that helped me navigate the VA process, and as a result, here I am over 8 months later, able to sit with you and tell you that, you know, that mental health process at the VA has been an incredibly important step that I've taken in my life, and I feel 100 times better. Now, after a bit, I got the opportunity to say, all right, this should be everywhere, and Veterans Community Project already wanted to expand nationwide. They've had hundreds of communities around the country reach out to them, and now I'm leading that national expansion. There's two things that Veterans Community Project offers that I think every city in the country needs, and both of them have to do with filling the gaps in veteran services, not complaining about the gaps, not advocating for change at the government level, just coming in and rescuing veterans who have fallen through into that bureaucratic maze. The first is a walk-in clinic that provides a one-stop shop outreach services for veterans to team them up with anything they need. And the second is what you mentioned, which is the transitional housing piece. It's making sure that homeless veterans are moved into what we call the Veterans Village, and that they can replicate the environment that they had, really the supportive network that they had before they left the military. And it makes an enormous difference. It's inspiring to see.
Jason, presidential candidate and veteran himself, Pete Buttigieg, visited a veterans village this week. What do those voters want to hear from these candidates?
I'm sorry, say that again.
What do these voters, what do veterans want to hear from candidates? We're looking at our screen right now of Pete Buttigieg visiting one of those villages.
Yeah. Well, look, you know, as somebody who, as a veteran and somebody who has run for office a bit myself, I can tell you that I think when folks look at veterans running for office, what they see is no different than what they see when they see a teacher or a firefighter or a police officer or a Peace Corps volunteer running. They look at him and they say, here's somebody who's done something harder than politics. I know that's what people appreciate. And so, you know, when you look at the mission that we have at Veterans Community Project, I mean, it is public service. So whether you're running for office or whether you're doing, you know, what I'm doing now with Veterans Community Project, it is just about making sure that we do more than stand up at a ball game and clap for folks. We do more than say thank you for your service in an airport. And I'm not criticizing anybody. That's what Americans want to do. They want to do more than that. And, you know, if you go to veteranscommunityproject.org, you'll see that it's an opportunity to be more than thankful, but to be involved.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.